Good morning all. Morena Tato, and welcome to the public who have joined us this morning as well. And councillors, we appreciate the opportunity to present to you this morning. As introduced, I'm Duran Longley, and we are speaking this morning on behalf of Nelson Clean Water Coalition. Most of you have met with us before and are well aware of the issues that we've raised with you individually. What we'll cover today in our presentation is on the screen, a brief description of who we are as the Clean Water Coalition in Nelson, what the latest scientific evidence is showing us about fluoride, the importance of respecting individual choice, and what actions the City Council can take that we recommend to you. We represent a rising number of over 300 members currently, all of whom are residents and ratepayers who are deeply concerned about this council's potential proposal to fluoridate our water without consulting residents and without our agreement. Zoe will now present the most recent evidence showing why fluoridation of our water should not proceed.
Hello. So the policy of water fluoridation has been put in place with the stated goal of reducing dental decay in children's teeth. The effectiveness of drinking fluoride is highly dubious, to say the least. When New Zealand dental statistics are reviewed, as they show no meaningful difference in decay between fluoridated and unfluoridated areas of New Zealand. Looking at this graph as an example, percentage of 5-year-olds with no dental decay, 2001 to 2020. Some years fluoridated areas are slightly better, others unfluoridated areas are slightly better, and many there's no meaningful difference between fluoridated and unfluoridated areas. Furthermore, when Ashburton stopped fluoridation in 2002 and New Plymouth stopped in 2011, there was no corresponding increase in tooth decay. But the real question is, why would you want something to be promoted that may possibly not really help your teeth if it is incredibly toxic? As examples, Green 2019 until 2020 are high-quality Canadian studies which found that there are significant losses of IQ in children caused by consuming fluoride. Canada's highest level of water fluoridation is 0.7 parts per million, while New Zealand's range is 0.7 to 1.0 parts per million. If there is a level low enough to not cause harm, it's clearly well below the level New Zealand plans to use. Goodman 2022 found that iodine deficiency in the mother, which is common in New Zealand, increased fluoride's toxic effects on the baby's brain. New Zealand study, Kangaroo 2009, found children who lived continuously in fluoridated areas were over 4 times more likely to have dental fluorosis than children who lived continuously in non-fluoridated areas. Earlier this year, one of the US government's top scientific projects was released. The National Toxicology Program has recently completed a 6-year, multi-million-dollar review on fluoride and neurotoxicity. They have confirmed that fluoride lowers children's IQ and that there is no known safe level where fluoride does not cause harm. The NTP reported that 52 of 55 studies found decreases in child IQ associated with an increase in fluoride, 95% consistency. The average IQ loss would be 3 to 5 IQ points in the range Nelson will be fluoridated with. The NTP stated that, for example, a 5-point decrease in the population's IQ would nearly double the number of people classified as intellectually disabled. This is summarized by this graph showing a steep decline in IQ as fluoride increases. 50 to 60% of fluoride is excreted by healthy kidneys, and the rest accumulates in bones and soft tissues, especially the kidneys and the pineal gland. The National Research Council has found that dosages as low as 0.05 to 0.13 milligrams per kilogram per day damage to the thyroid, even when iodine intake is adequate. Reduction of thyroid function can lead to loss of mental acuity, depression, weight gain, and affect brain development. Fluoride is also linked to increased fractures and some types of bone cancer. Fluoridation chemicals are hazardous emissions captured unprocessed smokestacks, scrubbers, of the phosphate fertilizer industry. There are only two places this toxic sludge is allowed to be dispersed: in designated hazardous waste facilities, or alternatively into our drinking water.
Unbelievable.
Unsurprisingly, this will not be a natural form of fluoride like calcium fluoride. That would still be toxic, but corrosive hydrofluorosilicic acid is much more toxic, and often is also contaminated with other toxins such as lead, arsenic, mercury, and sometimes radioactive uranium.
There are 6 core reasons why we believe that the City Council should strongly reject the mandate to fluoridate our water. Following on screen, the first one is that there is no individual adjustment of dose. Does a 2-year-old and 50-year-old adult need the same dose? Secondly, there is no process provided for informed medical consent. No competent doctor would ever prescribe a drug without prior examination of the patient. They would never advise that they drink as much as they like. They would never prescribe the same dose for the young, the old, the sick, the well, or even those with dentures. They would never propose continuing consuming it forever. This completely overrides all medical ethics. The third point is that compulsory fluoridation overrides individual choice and those medical ethics. Local decision-making is once again being overridden by a central government mandate. We've seen this before. Most other countries do not fluoridate. 98% of Europe doesn't, and many other countries we could cite. We're all aware historically of the impact of lead, asbestos, tobacco, DDT, mercury, and other so-called safe things that were once promoted as safe. Will you as a council ignore this large body of evidence now about fluoride's toxicity, as New Zealand did with lead? We hope not. There are real human consequences for any decision you make about this. As we're aware from the MCP report, children and pregnant women are the most vulnerable. Many people with health conditions, and some are in this audience, thyroid conditions, kidney issues, and suffer diabetes will be disproportionately impacted. The economically disadvantaged will not be able to afford the very expensive filters required. Businesses and livelihoods will be severely affected. 2 local examples are a biofertilizer factory and a cider vinegar manufacturer who would be required to install extremely expensive filtration plants that may cause them to leave Nelson and potentially affect their long-term business viability. What about all the cafes, restaurants, and other businesses that depend on clean, untainted water? There are 5 ways that you, our council, can act. Firstly, you may use the excuse that government has mandated it, therefore there's nothing we can do. But we say that we and you are not their servants who must obey regardless of the consequences. The first point we believe you can act on is New Health New Zealand currently has a lawsuit against the government's water fluoridation policy. The City Council should join with it and get an emergency injunction. Secondly, you could reach out to other councils with concerned constituents like those gathered today who reject fluoride being added to their water supplies, which overrides local decision making. The Grey District Council has deferred their decision on it because the Mayor said they felt it was appropriate to consult with residents and ratepayers. Is that not also extremely appropriate, like here in Nelson? The Bay Plenty Council is also seeking an exemption. The third point is, Mayor Nick, your suggestion to request a judicial review of the Director General Health's mandate to fluoridate city water supply.
Yeah.
The CEO and
That's the big crowd outside that couldn't
excuse
fit in.
the numbering on the screen. The CEO and Mayor could also write to the government to protest this anti-democratic policy and oppose fluoride being added to our water, or propose funding fluoride tablets for those who actually want it. You could promote the school toothbrushing campaign like Scotland's Child Smile program, which produced excellent results for children's dental health. Lastly, there are three core questions that certainly need answering by yourselves. How will you as councillors respect the rights and wishes of us, ratepayers and residents who do not want to be forced to consume fluoride in our water? That is what is being proposed. Secondly, if you choose to comply with this government's mandate, how will you respond to the rising public resistance evident today and its effect on council reputation as upholders of community well-being, which you are charged to uphold? And lastly, what legal liability are you each willing to take for the serious long-term consequences in our community by deciding to agree to fluoridate our water? We are seriously asking each of you and council as a whole to walk the talk of engaging with the public as per your own significance and engagement policy, to consult with us about fluoridation of our water. You need to know that we will not accept the compulsory medication of our water. We will continue to uphold our right to choose. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you today. We would welcome questions if you would like to ask any.
There is only two lawful ways by which this council does not proceed with fluoridation, and that is that a group like such as yourselves test the evidence of the Director General's decision that requires us to do so, and that is the opportunity for you to test in a court of law the claims that you have made this morning, or alternatively, we've got a general election in 3 months' time. Parliament is elected. Parliament has passed the law that requires us to do so. And the way in which a democratic country changes the law is that you elect parliamentarians. We are elected representatives. We sign and swear an oath on taking office to comply by the law of the land.
So why don't you challenge
there are only
it?
two lawful ways in which fluoridation would not proceed. Why is it not reasonable then for one of those two actions is the right place for you to go?
Why doesn't the council challenge it?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I have correspondence.
I'm sorry, we will accept order. My question is one, aren't they the only two lawful ways?
No, the council can challenge it. The council can challenge it.
No, ignorance is not excuse.
We represent local residents.
You don't.
Your significance and engagement policy states that you must consult with the community on significant assets. The number one asset is our water supply. Now, you're also under the Local Government Community Amendment Wellbeing Act. There are 4 areas in which you are charged to restore the well-being of our community. Is this not certainly a number one priority? And yes, we've heard what you said about the democratic process. The reason that we are here today en masse is because we do not see a democratic process being respected by the government in the first place. It is therefore why we are asking each of you to seriously look at this evidence. not just to accept what the mainstream belief has been promoted for years, that yes, fluoride will help dental decay. It does not. And the evidence clearly shows the latest one, which we would suggest you are not up to speed with, and neither is the dental community, that needs to be addressed.
Why do you think Parliament's Health Select Committee, why do you think that Parliament's Health Select Committee, after considering this issue for 18 months, hearing 1,000 submissions, including the information that you have come today, unanimously,
World Economic Forum.
Shields of the phosphate fertilizer industry.
Most of the submissions opposed.
to have a discussion with you, and so I think we're over time.
We appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. We ask you again to seriously look at this latest evidence. That supersedes the evidence that was presented to those groups you've cited. That needs to be acknowledged very seriously. This issue is not going away, and you need to be well aware of it. Thank you.
Thanks for your submission. We'll move to the next item of the agenda.
Unbelievable. I attended the select committee hearings and almost all of them were opposed, but the government just did it anyway, higher powers doing what they're told. Anyway, we're here, we came. Good on this amazing community, masses of people here, like the whole foyer out there was full of people. So many people here. It was absolutely brilliant, Nelson. Thank you so much for standing up. And let's hope these guys do actually look at the science. Some of them are supposedly scientists. Let's hope they look at the science, look at the law, and do what they need to do. And the bureaucrats as well. We need the bureaucrats as well. It's so heartbreaking. The Deputy Mayor, good morning, how are you? Hopefully you'll do some scientific research, eh?
Well, I was interested. I was just reading the National Toxicology Program report, which removed the hazard warning.
Remove the hazard warning of fluoride?
Yes.
Well, in that case, it is not based on the science. Let's look at the top scientists from the world, not the controlled New Zealand scientists that are funded to agree. There's so much evidence of harm. There's so much evidence, and no evidence of benefit. So much evidence of harm. But thanks for looking into it. Do appreciate that. Hello. Didn't know you guys are here. Yeah. Oh, you know.